missing out. But anyway, let's continue the conversation. Now, some people feel that they have to always be available. They have to be responding to messages immediately. They have to be checking their emails after work. Staying updated online. The same thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
What is that constant availability doing to our mental health or mental well-being?
Okay. So your presence or that anticipation that something is going on and I have to follow up on it. That anticipation alone predisposes the person to anxiety or anxiety disorders because
I see.
because more of anxiety is anticipatory. So so anything that has to do with you anticipating. So like the point you made, the world is going on. There are things happening in the world. I have to catch up. Only for you to go and reach them, then there is nothing going on. So you've put yourself in that state of being alarmed. If you do that severally, you are predisposing yourself to having anxiety disorders.
I want you to break it down a lot more. How does that happen? How does I don't quite see how it leads to anxiety disorders. Maybe if you can break it down a bit more.
Okay, so let me slow it down a bit. So anxiety has to do with irrational fears and unnecessary apprehension.
Right.
So if I am constantly telling my brain system or my amygdala that there is something happening, so I have put it in a state of alarm, only to go and realize nothing is happening. That is not too, like, maybe if it's a one-time thing, that is fine. Your body may not have to react or adjust to this reality. But if it becomes a constant phenomenon, unknown to you, you are rewiring your brain system. Is it making sense now?
Yeah.
So as the amygdala is constantly learning that you will put me in a state of heightened arousal, it gets to a point, being in that heightened arousal becomes a new norm.
Okay.
And so the least thing that has to do with fear and apprehension will trigger you faster than it would a normal person. Yeah. So you are reprogramming yourself because of this unnecessary apprehension and then anticipation that you are bringing on yourself. And so that is where it can become problematic for people.
I see.
And I say this because people who have had history of abuse and all those, for example, somebody has a fear of the father, right? And knows that when the father comes, anytime my daddy is home, my daddy is going to do something negative to me.
Yeah.
As they continuously anticipate, and then sometimes what they anticipate happens, that fear is in them. So anytime they think of their dad, they think of something aversive. In liking, like in the same manner, that is the analogy I'm trying to push across. If you forcefully condition your brain, now your brain is unable to differentiate between what is a thought and what is actually an action. It reads the same meaning into it. So if you are constantly putting your brain in that stressful state, it begins to try and go over that stress that you are pushing to it.
Okay.
So it will just adjust to that new reality, and you realize that your anxiety trigger becomes higher than the average person because of this state that you have put yourself into. So that is the bit that has to do with predisposing yourself to anxiety. If you are always trying to, you have that feeling that the world is moving away, like moving beyond you or moving away from you. The opposite, the counter to this phenomenon we are talking about, is the JOMO principle, which is the joy of missing out. Okay, so if you can be excited that, well, at least the world moved on and I didn't know. Oh wow, that's a nice experience. For example, yesterday France played Morocco, and then you are following the World Cup, but you forgot France was playing Morocco, and then you come back and go like, oh, France played Morocco. What was the scoreline? It was 2-0. Did Mbappe score? Yes, he scored. Did Dembele score? Yes, he scored. Excited. Oh wow, that is nice, and you continue with your life. This is healthy. But when you come back and you realize, oh, they played. Oh, why didn't I know? you realize that people can spiral because of that thing, and then they are so pissed, they are so pained, they are so hurt, and then boom, mental health is compromised. So if we can move along with the trends of the world, say something nice is happening, fine, we take it like that. Something has moved on, fine, we go ahead, because there's still more things to happen in the world we live in. So we don't have to confine and invest all our mental energy into the digital space. And when something has moved beyond us, which is not productive, which is not anything tied to our constant, like our survival directly. So it is not like a need, we omitted a need, or a need like something, an opportunity that can make us better left us. It is just World Cup. So when we're able to draw the boundaries again, and then see what we need to do and what we want to do, and are able to prioritize the needs over the wants, we realize that even if things pass us by, we are not going to be too triggered and bring any mental health effects to us.
I see. I see. All right. Anyway, but are we confusing being busy and always connected with actually being productive? Do you think we are?
I think we are. So I have a friend who tells me I have to be doing something all the time. Like, I have to be doing something all the time. I can't be idle. So in this scenario, you realize that even if it's time to rest, like, people like to do is understand they need to rest, because if I rest, I am not doing anything. But rest is also productive for your health. So it is very possible that people liken this mentality to, they carry this mentality even into the workplace. So when you have done productive schedule, say you've been given targets to meet from work, and you have met all your targets, and you need to de-stress, break down, get some relax, not break down, relax, have some sleep, maybe take a nap or something like that, they would reinterpret this as not doing anything, and so I am not being productive. So they will go and busy themselves with all manner of things, and some of it will be on, like, let me be on my phone, let me check if an email is coming, let me scroll, let me at least let me be on my phone, so that when somebody walks in, the person will see that I am doing something.
Okay.
Yeah. So that so now when you enter the digital space, that is a whole world on its own. So now the issue here is that a person's inability to differentiate between being busy and being productive has now lured the person into the digital space. So that when anybody walks in, the person will think I am doing something. So
right.
Let me just busy myself, so that nobody comes to say, oh, this is a lazy employee, I came and he was taking a nap, and so on and so forth, even though you have met your targets. Now, the difference between the two is, if you were taking a nap and a person walks in, and you have a frank conversation with the person and explain that, oh, you had just met your targets, and so you were just resting a bit to do the next assignment that comes to you. This is more productive to your mental health, as opposed to the other one, which is you going online and scrolling, because you may get lost. And when the next assignments come and you enter the addiction phase of the social media vibe, you may end up not being able to concentrate on the next task. And then that goes to, it goes a long way to even hurt you more than that small 5 minutes nap would have helped you.
I see. But why do you think many people struggle to, put their phones down, even when they know that, Charlie, you need a break?
Right. So I think, okay, so that would come from the earlier point I made, the economy thing I mentioned about. That is the attention economy. So I think when it comes to one of my greatest worries from the research I have done around brain and then mental health is that when the brain gets glued to something, when the brain begins to enjoy something, it is very difficult to win the brain over that. So if I am now, if I see social media makes sense to me, it's no longer me controlling how I feel about it. So long as your brain gets hooked on it and your brain likes it, it activates your HPA axis, that is the brain's reward system. So long as that place comes into the equation, you will love it for life. And so that is also the same place that is compromised when it comes to being addicted to something. And of course, the reinforcement social media brings is nice. Again, I mentioned the way it has been programmed. There's always something new to discover. There is always something to laugh about. There is always something to smile about. There is always something to insult. Like, and then now because of how they program the digital space, the algorithms they use align with your needs. They align with your the things you are okay with. So if you're a Christian person and your digital space is flooded by Christian teachings, you may listen to one powerful man of God say something very relevant. The next group brings a different message which is equally relevant because that is your space.
Yeah.
So you may see some wisdom in every video you would watch. Now, what have they done? They have brought your needs closer. They have brought your desires closer to you. And so when you sit down to work, your phone is telling you that, yeah, the next message is ready. Let me just see what the Lord is saying. So now it is no longer, let me see what my phone is telling me, but let me see what the Lord is saying. Maybe the Spirit has a message for me. And then we go and we scroll, and then it may be validated. You may find a powerful message there. You go like, wow, this is good. Then you move to the next one. You move to the next one. But as Christians, one thing we should know is that the Spirit is orderly and the Spirit is timely. So I'm saying this to those who are in this space, that when you are in work or you're at work and you're having some of these thoughts, go back and tell yourself, okay, well, I'm in a working space. When I have a break, I can go and watch a video. I can go and see a message or so on and so forth. But while I am working, God would want me to work. And so I'm going to work. So because of how things have been programmed in the digital space, we are unable to keep our phones somewhere as we work because your brain is calling for it. Your brain is calling for it. Because of that reinforcement that has happened there, your brain is always waiting for the next content to be dropped. Because as it happens, the flow of dopamine is also going, and your brain is excited. And of course, everybody will choose pleasure over pain, of course. And one thing the brain likes is to be pleasured. So if it is to the detriment of you sustaining your life by being productive, your brain cannot tell. So that is why you, the person, has to control everything you do. The brain has the reasonable part, the rational part, and it has the animalistic part. So if the animalistic part is calling, just as a baby will be calling you to do things, it is the mother or the father who would have to put their feet on the ground and say, you know what, you may have this, but not now. And so that is what we have to do. Get us to know that if these are the dynamics controlling my habits of not being able to drop my phone today, now that I have the real knowledge about it, then I have to start doing something about it now. And that goes a long way to help us in this battle.
I see, Stan, hold on for me. Let me just announce the lines and then we continue the conversation. So, well, if you just tune in, 36 minutes after 9, this is the Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitra Bihamon. And this morning, we're talking about digital well-being, how to be able to stay connected without losing yourself. And my guest is Stanislaus Naku. He's a mental health advocate and he's helping us have this conversation this morning. You're also free to join us. Send us a WhatsApp. Let's read your messages for you this morning. 0544 321019. 0544 321019. If you have questions, feel free to send them to me. I'm happy to read them for you. Also, you can drop a comment under our live stream. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and also live on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please feel free to drop a comment. I'm happy to read them for you and get Stan to respond to them. Yes, so Stan, let's continue the conversation. So now we often hear people say that, oh, I'm just checking something quickly. By the time you realize 1 hour is gone and they are still scrolling. What is happening psychologically in those moments?
Right. So I'll use the principle of reinforcement here again. So I think I've had that experience before. It was just funny because I'd woken up around 5 a.m. in the morning, and normally as a believer you wake up in the morning, you have to have your God time and then you continue. But I think the night before I had a very terrible experience, and so I was still in that state of sorrow, gloom. So I just took my phone and I started scrolling. Oh my God. When I opened my eyes, it was 9 a.m.
4 hours.
And then it hit me. I was like, hey, I started at 5, it's 9. I've not even prayed. What have I been doing? Like, hey. So obviously, the question comes back, what was I doing there? Probably, maybe I saw some contents that were speaking to my situation. I saw some things that made sense to me. I saw some intellectually stimulating conversations I thought I needed to follow up on. Or maybe it was just banter. I saw some Messi and Ronaldo content I wanted to follow up on to get more points to go and pepper the Ronaldo fans because they deserve it. So these are some of the distractions. And the fastest way to run away from reality is social media. So that is also one point that is getting us to see, oh, I'm scrolling some more, and then we get lost because sometimes the stress and then the issues we may be going through, if not properly resolved, we may resort to social media. So we enter the digital space and we are lost. We enter the digital space and we are lost. And when we return and we are like, hey, what did you go and do? So this also underscores the need for regular mental health screening to know where you are mentally. Because for you to make a stance, for you to take a stance and say, you know what, I'm going to now put my digital habit in check. I'm going to do productive digital. I'm going to prioritize digital wellness. You need to have dealt with stress.
Yeah.
You need to have stress under control, because if stress is still popping its head in those circles, whatever intervention you put in place would be redundant because you will still relapse and go back to some of these things. So the reason why somebody will say, let me look at something and then the person is lost, I would blame that on stress. Because when you look at mental health, actually looking at the definition, there is a component that says your active, your productive life has to be sustained. So anything that is coming in between your ability to sustain your productive life would mean that your mental health is now in question. So we need to deal with those things so that real functioning, productive functioning can continue to proceed. So yeah, the next time anybody goes online and says, I was scrolling, so I was just checking something and here I am, then know that your brain enjoyed what you did and your brain will always enjoy what you are doing. And obviously, maybe you are too stressed and so you thought you needed a timeout and you have gotten it. So now that you've gotten it, the question is, would you continue or you will still go back? And because of the how it has been programmed and the tendency to stay far outlives or outshines the tendency to go back to productive life. So those are some of the dynamics in this equation as well.
I see. All right. Let's move on and talk about a bit about technology and mental health. You know, I mean, you're speaking about how there's a connection between the digital use and anxiety and all of these things. So I won't spend too much time there. Now, social media actually allows people to connect, but many also report, feeling inadequate. They feel, pressured, anxious because of what they see online. Why does that happen?
Right. Again, there's so much information in the digital space. So much information. Now, one thing psychologists would want to highlight is social comparison. Comparison. So I see something beautiful. I wish I had it. I'm looking online and I'm seeing my peers have these things I am dreaming about or I'm dreaming of. They have it. They have it with a lot to spare. Recently, I saw a content of a young lady. She claimed, I don't know. I have my biases and so on and so forth. But and some of the things are also very unrealistic. Okay, but well, it depends on where you sit and how you appraise some of these things. But the story I see is this young lady who is turning 20 or 25. I don't know what the age was. Said she was gifted a 7-bedroom apartment. And this lady in question is way younger than me. And before that, a content had gone online that says she herself had bought herself or completed a 4-bedroom apartment. So I'm asking, you have 11 bedrooms combined. Like, what are you doing with this? And I am here. I've not put up even a chamber and hall yet. So if I wanted to have followed that conversation with my whole heart, I would have ended up somewhere else. And then, of course, there's the issue of branding, where people will come and say a whole lot of things in a certain time, only for you to find out at a different time that all these were lies and they were just things that people had concocted and all those things, right? So, if you want to enter the digital space, you would want to caution yourself against comparison and using somebody's experience to look down on yourself. It also comes down to your self-esteem and your self-worth as a person. How much do you believe in yourself? How much faith do you have in the process? If you are looking at how do you appraise people's successes, naturally speaking, there are some people who are intimidated by other people's successes. And there are people who can be genuinely happy for other people succeeding. So you'd want to put yourself in this space and ask yourself questions like, do I think I can be happy for somebody when I see them succeeding, especially when they are my peers or they are even younger than me? Am I able to do that? If I am not able to do that, I am going to detach myself. I'm going to run away from those contents that are portraying young people making it, just so I don't put myself in that state of comparing and then giving myself unnecessary mental health issues like depression, suicidal ideations, and all those things, because I am not meeting the trends. So the social comparison argument is very, very, very key there. Then we also have the issue of self-esteem. There are people who are there and then they see other people doing so much and then they start crying, they start breaking down, and they are saddened because they feel like their abilities can never match up. We can never get there because of the appraisal they have about themselves. So this is not necessarily having what the other people have. It is a lack of confidence in yourself.
Right.
So as you are seeing people perform to the max, you are now crying for how low your confidence is in doing some of these things. And now it begins to hurt you even more. Then there is the argument of being in the midst of so many people and being lonely, because that is also something we are seeing. So you are surrounded by so many things, but you are alone. Why? Because you are unable to have like human beings in your space. There are people who take to the digital space, they stay there for as long as they want to stay there, and in the end they die by suicide. These are people who intentionally detach themselves from normal everyday conversations and they confine themselves to the digital space because they feel like that is where they find peace and solace. So we have stories of gamers and people who do all manner of things in the digital space. So because they don't want to, they are running away from this normal conversations we are having, this day-to-day in-person conversations, and they confine themselves to the digital space. When they are bullied there, when that information they are looking for is not coming in time, whatever issues they begin to struggle with, of course, there is no external person to go and talk to. And for example, if you are, say, in the States, and then you have this maybe online social media chat, and it's about 12 midnight or it gets to 3, and there is no active person online, and you have a significant issue, who do you talk to? And so this loneliness also predisposes people to on like mental health issues that you can't even think of. And so in the mental health space, as it relates to the digital world, so many things happen. So the loneliness is real. The addictions are also there on their own. We have also talked about social comparison, and we talked about self-esteem and all those things. So all these things have a bearing on our mental health, and then as it relates to the digital spaces. Yeah,
I see. All right, we'll touch on maybe 2 or 3 more things, and then we can go because I'm looking at our time now. How can someone protect their mental health? So maybe somebody listening to us this morning saying that, okay, now I know that is affecting me, but how can I protect myself when consuming content that constantly compares lifestyle, achievements? Maybe on LinkedIn and all of that, and their appearances. Yes, how can a person protect their mental health? What should they do?
So the first thing I'll recommend is that anchor your identity elsewhere.
How
Okay,
so?
so yeah. So I'll break it out. You need to so like, who am I? These are introspective questions. Who am I? What is my purpose? What have I sat down? So I have planned my life out, and I have seen that if I am able to do A, B, and C in year A, B, and C, I would get to my destination. So this is somebody who is anchoring their identity on process, for example. So I am going to journey across process because it has happened. Evidence has shown that people who invested in themselves have reaped reasonable rewards. So if I have anchored my identity in process, if I hit social media and I see a young boy, 17 years, 18 years, put up a 6-story building, has a Lamborghini Urus, and has maybe 4 wives, I won't be moved much because the anchor that I have given to my identity is in process and not in what I am seeing. So it's like just as a ship would anchor so that it is not moved by the storms. That's the same analogy I'm trying to push. So when you anchor yourself in something, it can be faith. It can be a job you are doing, and you are hoping that job will take you from wherever you are to your next step in life. So that is where your mind is. That is where your initial focus is. So that no matter what comes your way, because you know where your eyes is looking, you are not moved so much. So a person like that will go into the digital space, see some of these things that is happening around, and the person will even add it to their wish list. So okay, so when I blow, these are the things I am going to do. So that is what the person is looking at, because the person is anchored. The person knows that come what may, I would also blow. So there is no envy, there is no anxiety. It's just vibes. So I look at it and I'm gone. So that is the anchoring part. There is also the intentional feed curation. So when I enter the social media space, what am I looking for? If I know that comparing myself to other people doesn't work well for me, I am going to avoid content that will lead me to comparing. Now the scrolling is easier. There's also search boxes or search engines. So I know what I'm looking for. I put it there. If anything I have not asked for is coming into my space, I quickly scroll and I focus on what I came to see. This is you putting yourself in the right space and not allowing any external influence dominate you in that space. There is also what we call the digital Sabbath. So the Christians would appreciate this even more. We know that on the 7th day, we are told God rested. So God was working actively for 6 days and he rested on the 7th day.
Yeah.
We have been scrolling every day. When are we resting from scrolling? That is the digital Sabbath, or that's the analogy of the digital Sabbath. So we need to find regular moments, even if it's not a day set aside for not scrolling. We can make space in the course of the day where these spaces are going to include captions like no scrolling, no social media, no phones at all.
Right.
I know a family that goes to table without phones. So you can't bring your phone to table. When it's time for eating, it's just eating. You don't take your phones there. And there are some couples who have the bedroom policy. No phones in the bedroom. Or no scrolling in the bedroom. The phone is just there. Maybe emergencies may come from work or anywhere else. You can take those calls. But you are not going to come to the bedroom and come and do active scrolling. So those areas are demarcated for in-person communications.
Okay.
And so in situations like this or in relationships like this, you know that, okay, when I get to table, I'm not using my phone. So it tells you that, well, I was able to put my phone down. I'm able to put my phone down when I go to bed. Like when I get to my bedroom, I'm able to drop my phone when I am going to eat. And when this becomes reinforced over time, you learn these habits and you can extend it elsewhere. So anybody listening who is willing to take their digital wellness seriously, I have a simple exercise for you.
Okay.
Just measure how long you went without scrolling. Or just as people will fast on food, fast on social media, and so on and so forth. Do a fast on your phone, and then just come back and do a quick research and ask yourself, what really did I like? What did I miss? Was it significant? Did it affect me in any way? So these are some of the questions that when you ask, it helps you to indulge in the digital Sabbath practice, and you realize that life goes on either way. There was this research that was done, and I've forgotten the people who conducted it, but it was all in this digital space and this digital detoxing. So they were people who were active on social media. So it was a group of friends. I think they were 4 in number, and then they reached out. They went out. They challenged themselves that they were going to be off social media for about, I think, a year or 2 years.
Wow.
And they were able to succeed. Like, it's so funny. These are people who were actively creating content online. That is what they were eating from. So I found that very intriguing. So when you stop this, what did you go and do? There were so many experiences they went into. And now guess what? In their days off, when they went off social media, because they had now entered real life engagement, they received so many insights and ideas into how to even make it more in life. So at their return to social media, all these ideas that they had gone to amass, they now began to show it off. They begin to create content into these new ideas and then putting it there. But one of their key driving forces currently is to get to win people off the digital space. And obviously, if somebody tells you I went offline for 2 years and I am back, and then I'm telling you that I didn't miss out on much, you'll be intrigued to follow such a content if you are willing to prioritize your digital wellness.
Right.
And so that alone is content for them to just draw in some audiences, and then obviously with the interventions they have brought, they also help people to win themselves up, go out there, get some real life challenges to solve, and then money streams are open in that regard.
I see. Stan, our time is up, so we have to go.
Already.
Yes, there are so many things to talk about, but I think I was actually going to turn to the practical habits and solutions, and I think you've shared some already, and so we will skip all of that, and then maybe by way of closing. So if maybe there's somebody listening to us who feels controlled by their digital life, what advice will you give them?
I would advise that you find a human friend. So get a human friend, yes, a human friend. Because
Okay.
I know that if I say get a friend, you may tell me, oh, my best friend is on social media, so I have to text the person. No, that's
Okay.
not what I want. Okay. So well, that's fine. Let me reduce the bar a bit. Get an active friend and make sure you talk to the person every day. If you can have in-person, face-to-face communications with a person, find some 30 minutes every day and have conversations with people. That is what, like, it can be a child coming back from school. Normalize random human-to-human communications. It helps you a lot to run away from the digital space. And if you find babies or young people in your circles, normalize having interactions with these people, because they may give you that same experience you seek when you're with a child. The child can say so many things, and before you know it, you realize that you have used a lot of time, but you are not in a digital space where you may be getting some radiations, you're distracting your sleep patterns and all those things. This is just real life interactions. And you learn so much about them, and they teach you so much about life. And then you can even use the opportunity to do some introspection to see where you were before and where you are now. So let's go out there, leave the digital space a bit, have normal interactions with people. When was the last time you checked up on a real mate, asked the person how he was doing, had a conversation with the person aside this, what's up, hello, how are you, hello, how are you? And we know we are in Ghana. Any how are you question is answered with I am fine. So let's go beyond. Let's have more weightier conversations. Let's put the social media aside for a bit. Let's go back to before social media came. SMSs, message, like nothing that will bring extra external influences. And let's see how that goes. And as we do this, let's have the digital Sabbath Let's draw boundaries on what we find or we search online. And if anything doesn't meet your mental health, if anything is contrary to your mental standards and they come, don't entertain them. Just scroll past it. And I believe we'll all have a digital healthy future. Amen.
All right, Stan, thank you very much for your time this morning. Hopefully we get to speak again soon and maybe look at this a lot more in depth. Yes, but I'm really grateful for your time and for your insights.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Please do.
Yeah, please do enjoy the rest of your day. All right, so that was Stanislaus Nyaku. He is a mental health advocate. And this morning we've been talking about how you can be able to, take hold of your digital future, or your digital life, really. So we spoke about digital wellness and how to stay connected without losing yourself. And he's giving a lot of suggestions as to how you can be able to deal with this, because so many people are scrolling and we're losing time. We're also losing ourselves. And so please, if you miss any part of this particular conversation, you can go back to our social media platforms. On YouTube, we'll be posting this video, this conversation there. So you can head to YouTube and search Z Multimedia. You will find us there, and you can play back so that you can take hold of yourself and also your digital life. All right. So that will be all for our business breakfast on Z101.9 FM for today, and of course for this week. We're back again on Monday for some more interesting conversations. Until then, please keep listening to Z101.9 FM, and when you think Ghana, think Z. My name is Nitrebi Hammond. I'll see you. Up next is The Brighter Side with Jeremy Okorie Amako. Bye-bye.